So this is part 3 in my series on the 2026 elections, and on this video we're going to focus on the statewide races here in Indiana. And in Indiana there are 5 statewide elected offices. You have the governor and lieutenant governor who run under one ticket. Then you have the attorney general, you have the secretary of state, state treasurer, and the state auditor. On the ballot in 2026 is just 3 of these: secretary of state, the treasurer, and the auditor. Now, everyone in Indiana gets to vote for these individuals, and they are all 4-year terms. So starting with the Secretary of State, the job of the Indiana Secretary of State is they are basically the chief election officers for the entire state. They are responsible for overseeing voter registration, certifying elections, administering campaign finance laws, and anything that has to do with the elections, they're in charge of. But they're also in charge of regulating business operations in Indiana. So that would be business and corporations, securities oversights, trademark registration, vehicle dealer licensing, things like that. The current Indiana Secretary of State is Republican Diego Morales. He's actually being challenged in 2026 on the Republican side by Jamie Rettenauer, who's a businesswoman, and David Shelton, who's the Knox County clerk. And then there's Democratic candidates Bo Bai and Blythe Potter, who are all planning to run or in the midst of running for Indiana Secretary of State. Then you have the Indiana State Treasurer. They are the chief financial officer and banker for Indiana. They have to manage the investment of all the public funds, oversee the safekeeping and daily handling of all the revenues that the state gets. The current Indiana State Treasurer is Daniel Elliott, Republican Daniel Elliott. There are no other candidates that have announced for that office yet. Finally, the third statewide candidate that will be on your ballot in 2026 is the state auditor. They're also known as the state comptroller. They're the chief financial officer and accountant for the state. So they have to oversee all the accounting systems, maintain all the records of revenues, expenditures, balances. They also issue electronic payments. They have to administer payroll for like over 30,000 state employees. They have to collect debts. And then they actually distribute the property tax revenues to all the taxing entities in your local governments. The current state auditor is Republican Elise Nichella. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And there are no other candidates who have announced that they're planning to run for that yet. Now, in part 4, I will talk about the fact that those candidates for those 3 offices are not actually chosen or nominated by their political parties in primaries in the May election. You as a general voter will not come and vote in the primary for those individuals. Instead, they are picked by Democratic and Republican Party conventions that occur over the summer.